Chapter 4. The next day, the sketch of the necklace is all I have left. Sadie has disappeared and the whole episode feels like a dream. At 8:30, I'm sitting at my desk, sipping coffee and staring down at the picture. What on earth got into me yesterday? The entire thing must have been my brain cracking up under the strain. The necklace, the girl, the banshee wailing. It was obviously all a figment of my imagination. For the first time, I'm starting to sympathize with my parents. I'm worried about me, too. Hi, there's a crash as Kate, our assistant, swings open the door, knocking over a bunch of files which I'd put on the floor while I got the milk out of the fridge. You don't have the biggest office in the world. So how was the funeral? Kate hangs up her coat, leaning right back over the photocopier to reach her hook. Luckily, she's quite gymnastic. Not great. In fact, I ended up at the police station. I had this weird mental flip out. Gosh, Kate looks horrified. Are you okay? Yeah, I think so. I have to get a grip. Abruptly, I fold up the necklace sketch, thrust it into my bag, and zip it shut. Actually, I knew something was up. Kate pauses halfway through twisting her blonde hair into an elastic. Your dad called yesterday afternoon and asked me if you'd been particularly stressed recently. I look up in alarm. You didn't tell him about Natalie leaving. No, of course not. Kate has been well trained in what to divulge to my parents, i.e. nothing. Anyway, I say with more vigor, never mind, I'm fine now. Were there any messages? Yes. Kate reaches for her notebook with a super efficient manner. Shireen kept calling all yesterday. She's going to call you today. Great. Shireen is our one piece of good news at L&N Executive Recruitment. We recently placed her as operations director at a software company, Macrosant. In fact, she's about to start the job next week. She's probably just calling to thank us. Anything else? I say, just as the phone rings. Kate checks the caller ID and her eyes widen. Oh, yes, another thing, she says hurriedly. Janet from Leonidas Sports called wanting an update. She said she was going to ring at 9 a.m. sharp. This'll be her. She meets my panicky eyes. Do you want me to answer? No, I want to hide under the desk. Yes, you better. My stomach is bubbling with nerves. Leonidas Sports is our biggest client. They're a massive sports equipment company with shops all over the UK, and we promised to find them a marketing director. Rephrase that. Natalie promised to find them a marketing director. I'll just put you through, Kate is saying in her best PA voice, and a moment later the phone on my desk rings. I glance desperately at Kate, then pick it up. Janet, I exclaim in my most confident tones. Good to hear from you. I was just about to call. Hi, Laura, comes Janet Grady's familiar hoarse voice. Just phoning for an update. I was hoping to speak to Natalie. I've never met Janet Grady face to face, but in my head she's about 6'3" with a mustache. The first time we ever spoke, she told me the team at Leonidas Sports are all tough thinkers, hard players, and have an iron grip on the market. They sound terrifying. All right, I twist the quarter on my fingers. Well, unfortunately, Natalie's still, poorly. This is the story I've been spinning ever since Natalie didn't make it back from Goa. Luckily, you just have to say she's been to India, and everyone launches into their own my horrendous traveling illness story without asking any more questions. But we're making great headway, I continue, really marvelous. We're working through the long list, and there's a file of very strong candidates right here on my desk. We'll be looking at a top-class shortlist, I can assure you, all tough thinkers. Can you give me any names? Not right now. My voice jumps in panic. I'll fill you in nearer the time, but you'll be very impressed. Okay, Laura. Janet is one of those women who never waste time on small talk. Well, as long as you're on top of it, best to Natalie. Goodbye. I replace the receiver and meet Kate's eyes, my heart thumping. Remind me, who do we have as possibles for Leonidas Sports? The guy with the 3-year gap in his resume, says Kate, and the weirdo with the dandruff, and the kleptomaniac woman. I wait for her to continue. She gives a tiny apologetic shrug. That's all. Paul Richards pulled out yesterday, she says anxiously. He's been offered a position at some American company. Here's the list. She hands me the sheet of paper, and I stare at the 3 names in total despair. They're all no-hopers. We can't send this list in. Gosh, headhunting is hard. I had no idea. Before we started up the company, Natalie always made it seem so exciting. She talked about the thrill of the chase, strategic hiring and upskilling, and the tap on the shoulder. We used to meet every few weeks for a drink, and she was full of such amazing stories about her work, I couldn't help feeling envious. Writing promotional website copy for a car manufacturer seemed really dull in comparison. Plus, there were rumors we were going to have big layoffs, so when Natalie suggested a startup, I jumped at the chance. The truth is, I've always been a bit in awe of Natalie. She's so glossy and confident. Even when we were at school, she always had the latest slang and could blag us into pubs. And when we first started off the company, it all worked brilliantly. She brought in some big bits of business for us at once and was constantly out networking. I was writing our website and supposedly learning all the tricks from her. It was all going in the right direction, until she disappeared and I realized I hadn't actually learned any tricks at all. Natalie's really into business mantras, and they're all on post-its around her desk. I keep sidling over and studying them, as if they're the runes to some ancient religion, trying to divine what I'm meant to do. For example, the best talent is already in the market is stuck up above her computer. That one I do know. It means you're not supposed to go through the resumes of all the bankers who were fired from an investment bank last week and try to make them sound like marketing directors. You're supposed to go after the existing marketing directors. But how? What if they won't even speak to you? After doing this job for several weeks on my own, I have a few new mantras which go as follows. The best talent doesn't answer the phone itself. The best talent doesn't ring back even if you leave 3 messages with its secretary. The best talent doesn't want to move into sports retail. When you mention the 50% employee discount on tennis rackets, the best talent just laughs at you. I pull out our original crumpled coffee stain long list for the millionth time and flick through it gloomily. Names glitter off the page like shiny sweeties. Employed, bona fide talent. The marketing director of Woodhouse Retail, the European marketing head at Dartmouth Plastics. They can't all be happy at their jobs, surely. There must be someone out there who would love to work for Leonidas Sports. But I've tried every single name and got nowhere. I glanced up to see Kate standing on one foot, surveying me anxiously, the other wrapped around her calf. We have precisely 3 weeks to find a tough-thinking, hard-hitting marketing director for Leonidas Sports. I'm trying desperately to stay positive. Natalie landed this deal. Natalie was going to woo all the starry candidates. Natalie knows how to do this. I don't. Anyway, no point dwelling on that now. Okay, I slapped my hand on the desk. I'm going to make some calls. I'll make you a fresh coffee. Kate springs into action. We'll stay here all night if we have to. I love Kate. She acts like she's in a film about some really thrusting multinational company instead of 2 people in a 10-foot square office with moldy carpet. Salary, 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 she says as she sits down. You snooze, you lose, I respond. Kate got into reading Natalie's mantras too. Now we can't stop quoting them at each other. Trouble is, they don't actually tell you how to do the job. What I need is the mantra telling me how to get past the question, may I ask what it is in connection with? I swing my chair over to Natalie's desk to get out all the Leonidas Sports paperwork. The cardboard file has fallen off its hangers inside her drawer, so with a muttered curse I gather all the papers together and pull them out. Then suddenly I stop as I notice an old post-it which has somehow attached itself to my hand. I've never seen this before. James Yates Mobile is written in faded purple felt tip, and then a number. A mobile number for James Yates? I don't believe it. He's marketing director at Felton's Breweries. He's on the long list. He'd be perfect. Whenever I've tried his office, I've been told he's abroad. But wherever he is, he'll have his mobile, won't he? Trembling with excitement, I push my chair back to my own desk and dial the number. James Yates. The line is a little crackly, but I can still hear him. Hi, I say, trying to sound as confident as possible. It's Laura Langton here. Can you talk? This is what Natalie always does on the phone. I've heard her. Who is this? He sounds suspicious. Did you say you're from LinkedIn's? I gave an inward sigh. No, I'm from L&N Executive Recruitment, and I was phoning to see if you'd be interested in a new position. Heading up marketing in a dynamic, growing retail company. It's a very exciting opportunity, so if you'd like to discuss it, perhaps over a discreet lunch at a restaurant of your choice. I'm going to die if I don't breathe, so I stop and gasp for air. Elle and Den, he sounds worried I don't know you. We're a relatively new outfit, myself and Natalie Masser. Not interested, he cuts me off. It's a marvelous opportunity, I say quickly. You'll have a chance to expand your horizons. There's a lot of exciting potential in Europe. Sorry, goodbye. And a 10% discount on sportswear. I called desperately down the dead phone. He's gone. He didn't even give me a chance. What'd he say? Kate approaches, her hands clutched hopefully around a coffee cup. He hung up. I slump in my chair as Kate puts down the coffee. We're never going to get anyone good. Yes, we will, says Kate just as the phone starts ringing. Maybe this is some brilliant executive who's longing for a new job. She hurries back to her desk and picks up the phone with her best assistant's manner. Elle and Den Executive Recruitment. Oh, Shireen, great to hear from you. I'll put you through to Laura. She beams at me and I grin back. At least we've had one triumph. I suppose, strictly speaking, it was Natalie's triumph since she made the placement, but I've been doing all the follow-up work. Anyway, it's a company triumph. Hi, Shireen. I say cheerfully, all set for the new job? I just know it's going to be a great position for you. Laura, Shireen interrupts tensely, there's a problem. My stomach plunges. No, please no problems. Problem? I force myself to sound relaxed. What kind of problem? It's my dog. Your dog? I'm intending to take Flash into work every day, but I just phoned Human Resources about setting up a basket for him and they said it was impossible. They said it wasn't their policy to allow animals in the offices. Can you believe it? She clearly expects me to be as outraged as she is. I stare at the phone in bewilderment. How has a dog suddenly entered the picture? Laura, are you there? Yes, I come to. Shireen, listen to me. I'm sure you're really fond of Flash, but it's not usual to take dogs into the workplace. Yes, it is, she interrupts. There's another dog in the building. I've heard it every time I've been in. That's why I assumed it would be fine. I never would have taken this job otherwise. They're discriminating against me. I'm sure they're not discriminating, I say hurriedly. I'll call them straight away. I put down the phone, then quickly dial the HR department at Macroscent. Hi, Jean. It's Laura Langton here from L&N Executive Recruitment. I just wanted to clarify a small point. Is Shireen Moore permitted to bring her dog to work? The whole building has a no-dog policy, says Jean pleasantly. I'm sorry, Laura. It's an insurance thing. Of course, absolutely. I understand. I pause. The thing is, Shireen believes she's heard another dog in the building several times. She's mistaken, Jean says after the tiniest of beats. There are no dogs here. None at all? Not even one little puppy? My suspicions have been aroused by that pause. Not even one little puppy. Jean has regained her smoothness. As I say, there's a no-dog policy in the building. And you couldn't make an exception for Shireen? I'm afraid not. She's polite but implacable. Well, thanks for your time. I put the phone down and tapped my pencil silently on my notepad for a few seconds. Something's up. I bet there is a dog there. But what can I do about it? I can't exactly phone Jean back and say I don't believe you. With a sigh, I redial Shireen's number. Laura, is that you? She picks up straight away as though she's been sitting by the phone waiting for an answer, which she probably has. She's very bright, Shireen, and very intense. I can picture her now, drawing that endless crisscross of squares, which she obsessively doodles everywhere. She probably needs a dog just to stay sane. Yes, it's me. I called Jean, and she says no one else in the building has a dog. She says it's an insurance thing. There's silence as Shireen digests this. She's lying, she says at last. There is a dog in there. Shireen, I feel like banging my head against the desk. Couldn't you have mentioned the dog before, at one of the interviews maybe? I assumed it would be okay, she says defensively. I heard the other dog barking. You can tell when there's a dog in a place. Well, I'm not working without Flash. I'm sorry, Laura. I'll have to pull out of the job. No, I cry out in dismay before I can stop myself. I mean, please don't do anything rash, Shireen. I'll sort this out, I promise. I'll call you soon. Breathing heavily, I put the phone down and bury my head in my hands. Crap. What are you going to do? Ventures Kate anxiously. She clearly overheard the whole thing. I don't know, I admit. What would Natalie do? Both of us instinctively glanced toward Natalie's desk, gleaming and empty. I have a sudden vision of Natalie sitting there, her lacquered nails tapping on the desk, her voice raised in some high-octane call. Since she's been gone, the volume level in this office has dropped by about 80%. She might tell Shireen she had to take the job and threaten to sue her if she didn't, says Kate at last. She'd definitely tell Shireen to get over herself and add an agreement. She'd call her unprofessional and flaky. I once heard Natalie tearing a strip off some guy who had second thoughts about taking up a position in Dubai. It wasn't pretty. The deep down truth, which I don't want to admit to anyone, is that now I've got to know the way Natalie thinks and does business. I don't really relate to a lot of it. What appealed to me about this job was working with people, changing lives. When we used to meet up and Natalie would tell me her stories of finding talent, I was always just as interested in the story behind the deal as the deal itself. I thought it must be so much more satisfying to help people's careers than to sell cars. But that aspect doesn't seem to feature highly on our agenda. Okay, I know I'm a novice, but, and maybe I am a bit idealistic like Dad always says, but your job is one of the most important things in your life, surely. It should be right for you. Salaries and everything. There again, that'll be why Natalie's the successful headhunter with loads of commission under her belt, and I'm not. And right now we need commission. So what we're saying is I should ring Shireen back and give her a hard time, I say reluctantly. There's silence. Kate looks as pained as I feel. Thing is, Lara, she says hesitantly, you're not Natalie. She's away. So you're the boss. So you should do things your way. Yes, I feel a surge of relief. That's true. I'm the boss, so what I say is, I'll think about it for a while first. Trying to look as though this is a decisive piece of action instead of a cop-out, I push the phone aside and start leafing through the post. A bill for office paper, an offer to send all my staff on a team-building trip to Aspen, and at the bottom of the pile, Business People, which is like the celebrity magazine of business. I open it and start flipping through the pages, trying to find someone who would make a perfect marketing director for Leonidas Sports. Business People is essential reading for a headhunter. It's basically endless photo spreads of thrusting, super-groomed types who have massive offices with plenty of space to hang up their coats. But goodness, it's depressing. As I turn from one high flyer to another, my spirits sink lower and lower. What's wrong with me? I only speak one language. I haven't been asked to chair any international committees. I don't have a working wardrobe which pairs Dolce & Gabbana trouser suits with quirky shirts from Paul Smith. Dolefully, I close the magazine and slump back, staring at the grimy ceiling. How do they all do it? My Uncle Bill, everyone in this magazine. They decide to run a business and it's instantly a success and it looks so easy. Yes. Suddenly I become aware of Kate making semaphore signals across the room. I look up to see her face all pink with excitement as she talks on the phone. I'm sure Lara would be able to make space for you in her schedule if you could just hold on a moment. She presses hold and squeaks. It's Clive Hoxton, the one who said he wasn't interested in Leonidas Sports. She adds at my blank look, the rugby guy? Well, he might be after all. He wants to have lunch and talk about it. Oh my gosh, him. My spirits shoot back up. Clive Hoxton is marketing director at Arbery Stores and used to play rugby for Doncaster. He couldn't be more perfect for the Leonidas Sports job. But when I first approached him, he said he didn't want to move. I can't believe he's got in touch. Play it cool, I whisper urgently. Pretend I'm really busy interviewing other candidates. Kate nods vigorously. Let me just see, she says into the phone. Lara's schedule is very packed today, but I'll see what I can do. Now what a stroke of luck. She unexpectedly has a vacancy. Would you like to name a restaurant? She grins broadly at me and I give her an air high five. Clive Hoxton is an A-list name. He's tough thinking and hard playing. He'll totally make up for the weirdo and the kleptomaniac. In fact, if we get him, I'll axe the kleptomaniac aside. And the weirdo isn't that bad if we could just get rid of his dandruff. All fixed up. Kate puts the phone down. You're having lunch today at 1 o'clock. Excellent. Where? Well, that's the only thing. Kate hesitates. I asked him to name a restaurant, and he named... She breaks off. What? My heart starts to thump anxiously. Not Gordon Ramsay. Not that posh one in Claridge's. Kate winces. Worse. Lyle Place. My inside shrivel. You have to be kidding. Lyle Place opened about 2 years ago and was instantly christened the most expensive restaurant in Europe. It has a massive lobster tank and a fountain, and loads of celebrities go there. Obviously, I've never been there. I've just read about it in the Evening Standard. We should never, never, never have let him name the restaurant. I should have named it. I would have named Pasta Pot, which is around the corner and does a set lunch for £12.95, including a glass of wine. I daren't even think how much lunch for two at Lyle Place is going to be. We won't be able to get in, I say in sudden relief. It'll be too busy. He said he can get a reservation. He knows some people. He'll put in your name. Damn. Kate is nibbling at her thumbnail anxiously. How much is in the client entertainment kitty? About 50 pence, I say in despair. We're broke. I'll have to use my own credit card. What? It'll be worth it, says Kate resolutely. It's an investment. You've got to look like a mover and a shaker. If people see you eating at Lyle Place, they'll think, wow, Laura Langton must be doing well if she can afford to take clients here. But I can't afford it, I will. Could we phone him up and change it to a cup of coffee? Even as I'm saying it, I know how lame this would look. If he wants lunch, I have to give him lunch. If he wants to go to Lyle Place, we have to go to Lyle Place. Maybe it isn't as expensive as we think, says Kate, hopefully. I mean, all the newspapers keep saying how bad the economy is, don't they? Maybe they've reduced the prices. Or got a special offer. That's true. Maybe he won't order very much, I add in sudden inspiration. I mean, he's sporty. He won't be a big eater. Of course he won't, agrees Kate. He'll have like one tiny bit of sashimi and some water and dash off. And he definitely won't drink. Nobody drinks at lunch anymore. Feeling more positive about this already. Kate's right. No one drinks at business lunches these days. And we can keep it down to 2 courses or even 1. A starter and a nice cup of coffee. What's wrong with that? And anyway, whatever we eat, it can't cost that much, can it? Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna faint. Except I can't because Clive Hoxton has just asked me to run through the specs of the job again. I'm sitting on a transparent chair at a white cloth table. If I look to my right, I can see the famous giant lobster tank, which has crustaceans of all sorts climbing around on rocks and occasionally being scooped out in a metal net by a man on a ladder. Over to the left is a cage of exotic birds whose cheeping is mingling with the background whooshing sound from the fountain in the middle of the room. Well, my voice is quite faint. As you know, Leonidas Sports has just taken over a Dutch chain. I'm talking on autopilot. My eyes keep darting down to the menu printed on plexiglass. Every time I spot a price, I feel a fresh swoop of horror. Ceviche of salmon, origami style, 34 pounds. That's a starter. A starter. Half a dozen oysters, 46 pounds. There's no specials either. There's no sign of any hard times. All around, diners are merrily eating and drinking as if this is all totally normal. Are they all bluffing? Are they all secretly quailing inside? If I stood on a chair and yelled, "It's too expensive, I'm not going to take this anymore," would I start a mass walkout? Obviously, the board wants a new marketing director who can oversee this expansion. I have no idea what I'm blabbering about. I'm psyching myself up to peek at the main courses. Filet of duck with 3-way orange mash, 59 pounds. My stomach lurches again. I keep doing mental math and reaching 300 and feeling a bit sick. Some mineral water? The waiter appears at the table and proffers a blue-tinted plexiglass square to each of us. This is our water menu. If you like sparkling water, the Chetwynd Glen is rather fun, he adds. It's filtered through volcanic rock and has a subtle alkalinity. I force myself to nod intelligently, and the waiter meets my eyes without a flicker. Surely they all get back into the kitchen, collapse against the walls, and start snorting with laughter. She paid 15 quid for water. I'd prefer Pellegrino. Class shrugs. He's a guy in his 40s with graying hair, froggy eyes, and a mustache, and he hasn't smiled once since we sat down. A bottle of each, then, says the waiter. No, not 2 bottles of overpriced water. So what would you like to eat, Clive? I smile. If you're in a hurry, we could go straight to main courses. I'm not in any hurry. Clive gives me a suspicious look. Are you? Of course not. I backtrack quickly. No hurry at all. I wave a generous hand. Have whatever you'd like. Not the oysters. Please, 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 not the oysters. The oysters to begin with, he says thoughtfully. Then I'm torn between the lobster and the porcini risotto. I discreetly whip my eyes down to the menu. The lobster's 90 pounds, the risotto only 45 pounds. Tough choice, I try to sound casual. You know, risotto is always my favorite. There's silence as Clive frowns at the menu again. I love Italian food, I throw in with a relaxed little laugh, and I bet the porcini are delicious. But it's up to you, Clive. If you can't decide, the waiter puts in helpfully, I could bring you both the lobster and a reduced-size risotto. He could what? Who has to interfere anyway? Great idea! My voice is 2 notes shriller than I intended. 2 main courses. Why not? I feel the waiter's sardonic eye on me and instantly know he can read my thoughts. He knows I'm a skint. And for madam? Right, absolutely. I run a finger down the menu with a thoughtful frown. The truth is, I went for a big power breakfast this morning, so I'll just have a Caesar salad, no starter. 1 Caesar salad, no starter. The waiter nods impassively. And would you like to stick to water, Clive? I desperately try to keep any hint of hope out of my voice. Or wine. Even the idea of the wine list makes my spine feel all twingy with fear. Let's see the list. Clive's eyes light up. And add a glass of vintage champagne to start, perhaps, suggests the waiter with a bland smile. He couldn't just suggest champagne. He had to suggest vintage champagne. This waiter is a total sadist. Sadist. I could be persuaded. Clive gives a sort of lugubrious chuckle, and somehow I force myself to join in. At last the waiter departs, having poured us each a zillion-pound glass of vintage champagne. I feel a bit giddy. I'm going to be paying off this lunch for the rest of my life, but it'll be worth it. I have to believe that. So, I say brightly, raising my glass, to the job. I'm so glad you've changed your mind, Clive. I haven't, he says, swigging about half of his champagne down in one gulp. I stare at him unnerved. Am I going mad? Did Kate take down the message wrong? But I thought... It's a possibility. He starts to break up a bread roll. I'm not happy with my job at the moment, and I'm considering a move, but there are drawbacks to this Leonidas sports gig, too. Sell it to me. For a moment, I'm too choked with dismay to answer. I'm spending the price of a small car on this man, and he might not even be interested in the job. I take a sip of water, then look up, forcing my most professional smile. I can be Natalie. I can sell this to him. Clive, you're not happy in your current post. For a man with your gifts, this is a criminal situation. Look at you. You should be in a place which will appreciate you. I pause, my heart thumping hard. He's listening attentively. He hasn't even buttered his bread roll yet. So far, so good. In my opinion, the job at Leonidas Sports would be the perfect career move for you. You're a former sportsman. It's a sporting goods company. You love to play golf. Leonidas Sports has a whole golf floor line. Clive raises his eyebrows. You've done your research on me at any rate. I'm interested in people, I say honestly, and knowing your profile, it seems to me that Leonidas Sports is exactly what you need at this stage. This is a fantastic, unique opportunity to... Is that man your lover? A familiar clipped voice interrupts me and I jump. It sounded just like... No, don't be ridiculous. I take a deep breath and resume. As I was saying, this is a fantastic opportunity to take your career to the next level. I'm sure that we could achieve a very generous package. I said, is that man your lover? The voice is more insistent, and before I can stop myself, I swivel my head. No, this can't be happening. She's back. It's Sadie, perched on a nearby cheese trolley. She's not in the green dress anymore. She's wearing a pale pink one, with a dropped waistband and a matching coat over the top. There's a black band around her head, and from one of her wrists dangles a little gray silk bag on a beaded chain. The other hand is resting on a glass cheese dome, apart from her fingertips, which have sunk into it. She suddenly notices and pulls them out sharply, carefully positioning them atop of the glass. He's not terribly handsome, is he? I want some champagne, she adds imperiously, her eyes lighting on my drink. Ignore her, it's a hallucination. It's all in your head. Lara, are you okay? Sorry, Clive, I hastily turned back. Just got a bit distracted there by the cheese trolley. It all looks so delicious. Oh gosh, Clive doesn't seem amused. I need to get things back on track quick. The real question to ask yourself, Clive, is this. I lean forward intently. Will an opportunity like this come along again? It's a unique chance to work with a great brand, to use all your proven talents and admired leadership skills. I want some champagne! To my horror, Sadie has materialized right in front of me. She reaches for my glass and tries to pick it up, but her hand goes through it. Drat, I can't pick it up. She reaches again and again, then glares at me crossly. This is so irritating. Stop it, I hiss furiously. I'm sorry? Clive knits his heavy brows. Not you, Clive. Just got something caught in my throat. I grab my glass and take a gulp of water. Have you found my necklace yet? Sadie demands accusingly. No, I mutter from behind my glass. Go away. Then why are you sitting here? Why aren't you looking for it? Clive, I desperately try to focus back on him. I'm so sorry about that. What was I saying? Admired leadership skills, says Clive without cracking a smile. That's right, admired leadership skills. So the point is, haven't you looked anywhere? She thrusts her head close to mine. Don't you care about finding it? So what I'm trying to say is, it's taking every ounce of willpower to ignore Sadie and not bat her away. In my opinion, this job is a great strategic move. It's a perfect springboard for your future. And furthermore, you've got to find my necklace. It's important. It's very, very. Furthermore, I know the generous benefits package will... Stop ignoring me! Sadie's face is practically touching mine. Stop talking. Stop. Shut up and leave me alone. Shit. Did that just come out of my mouth? From the shell-shocked way Clive's froggy eyes have widened, I'm guessing the answer is yes. At 2 neighboring tables, conversations have come to a halt, and I can see our supercilious waiter pausing to watch. The buzz of clashing cutlery and conversation seems to have died away all around. Even the lobsters seem to be lined up at the edge of the tank, watching. Clive, I give a strangled laugh. I didn't mean, obviously I wasn't talking to you. Lara, Clive fixes me with a hostile gaze. Please do me the courtesy of telling me the truth. I can feel my cheeks staining red. I clear my throat desperately. What can I say? I was talking to myself? No. I was talking to a vision? No. I'm not a fool. He cuts me off contemptuously. This isn't the first time this has happened to me. It isn't? I peer at him bemused. I've had to put up with it in board meetings and directors' lunches. It's the same everywhere. Blackberries are bad enough, but these hand-free sets are a bloody menace. You know how many car accidents people like you cause? Hands-free, does he mean? He thinks I was on the phone. I wasn't, I begin automatically, then stop myself. Being on the phone is the most sane option available to me. I should go with it. But this really is the pits. He glowers at me, breathing heavily. Taking a call during a 1-to-1 lunch, hoping I might not notice. It's fucking disrespectful. I'm sorry, I say humbly. I'll switch it off now. With a fumbling hand, I reach up to my ear and pretend to switch off an earpiece. Where is it anyway? He frowns at me. I can't see it. It's tiny, I say hastily, very discreet. Is it the new Nokia? He's peering more closely at my ear. Shit. It's actually, embedded in my earring. I hope I sound convincing. New technology. Clive, I'm really sorry I was distracted. I misjudged the situation, but I am very sincere about wanting to place you with Leonidas Sports. So if I can maybe just recap on what I was trying to say. You have to be joking. But you think I'm going to do business with you now? He gives a short, unamused laugh. You're as unprofessional as your partner, and that's saying something. To my horror, he pushes back his chair and gets to his feet. I was going to give you a chance, but forget it. No, wait, please, I say in panic. But he's already striding away between the tables of gawping diners. I feel hot and cold as I stare at his empty chair. With a still shaky hand, I reach for my champagne and take 3 deep gulps. So that's that. I fucked up. My best hope is gone. And anyway, what did he mean? I'm as unprofessional as my partner? So you heard about Natalie disappearing off to Goa? Does everyone know? Will the gentleman be returning? My trance is interrupted by the waiter approaching the table. He's holding a wooden platter bearing a dish with a silver dome on it. I don't think so. I stare at the table, my face burning with humiliation. Shall I return his food to the kitchen? Do I still have to pay for it? Unfortunately, madam, yes. He gives me a patronizing smile, since it has been ordered and everything is cooked fresh. Then I'll have it. All of it? He seems taken aback. Yes. I lift my chin mutinously. Why not? I'm paying for it. I might as well eat it. Very good. The waiter inclines his head, deposits the platter in front of me, and removes the silver dome. Half a dozen fresh oysters on crushed ice. I've never eaten oysters in my life. I've always thought they look gross. Close up, they look even grosser, but I'm not admitting that. Thanks, I say curtly. The waiter retreats and I stare fixedly at the 6 oysters in front of me. I'm determined to see this stupid lunch out, but there's a tight pressing feeling behind my cheekbones and my bottom lip would be trembling if I allowed it. Oysters! I adore oysters! To my disbelief, Sadie appears in front of my eyes again. She sinks into Clive's vacated chair with a languid sideways movement, looks around and says, This place is rather fun. Is there a cabaret? I can't hear you. I mutter savagely. I can't see you. You don't exist. I'm going to the doctor and getting some drugs and getting rid of you. Where's your lover gone? He wasn't my lover, I snap in low tones. I was trying to do business with him, and it's all spoiled because of you. You've ruined everything. Oh, she arches her eyebrows unrepentantly. I don't see how I could do that if I don't exist. Well, you did, and now I'm stuck with these stupid oysters that I don't want and can't afford, and I don't even know how to eat them. It's easy to eat an oyster. No, it isn't. I suddenly notice a blonde woman in a print dress at the next table, nudging the perfectly groomed woman next to her and pointing at me. I'm talking to thin air. I look like a lunatic. Hastily, I reach for a bread roll and start to butter it, avoiding Sadie's eye. Excuse me. The woman leans over and smiles at me. I couldn't help overhearing your conversation. I don't mean to interrupt, but did you just say your phone is embedded in your earring? I stare back at her, my mind scrabbling for an answer other than yes. Yes, I say at last. The woman claps a hand to her mouth. That's amazing. How does it work? It has this special chip, very new, Japanese. I have to get one. She's gazing at my Claire's accessories. $5.99 earring, awestruck. £5.99 earring, awestruck. Where do they sell them? Actually, this is a prototype, I say hurriedly. They'll be available in a year or so. Well, how did you get one then? She gives me an aggressive look. No Japanese people, sorry. Could I see? She holds out her hand. Could you take it out of your ear for a moment? Would you mind? A call is just coming in. I say hastily, it's vibrating. I can't see anything. She's peering incredulously at my ear. It's very subtle. I say desperately, there are micro vibrations. Hello, Matt? Yes, I can talk. I mime apologies to the woman, and reluctantly she returns to her meal. I can see her pointing me out to all her friends. What are you talking about? Sadie's eyeing me disdainfully. How can a telephone be in an earring? It sounds like a riddle. I don't know. Don't you start quizzing me too. I prod an oyster with little enthusiasm. Do you really not know how to eat an oyster? Never eaten one before in my life. Sadie shakes her head disapprovingly. Pick up your fork. The shellfish fork. Go on. Casting her a suspicious look, I do as she says. Ease it around. Make sure it's detached from the shell. Now give it a squeeze of lemon and pick it up, like this. She mimes picking up an oyster and I copy. Head back and swallow the whole thing, bottoms up. It's like swallowing a piece of jellified sea. Somehow I manage to slurp down the whole thing, grab my glass and take a swig of champagne. You see? Sadie is watching me greedily. Isn't that too delicious? It's okay, I say reluctantly. I put my glass down and survey her silently for a moment. She's reclining on the chair, as though she owns the place, one arm flung to the side, her beaded bag dangling down. She's all in my head, I tell myself. My subconscious has invented her. Except, my subconscious doesn't know how to eat an oyster, does it? What is it? She dusts out her chin. Why are you looking at me like that? My brain is edging very slowly to a conclusion, to the only possible conclusion. You're a ghost, aren't you? I say at last. You're not a hallucination. You're a proper, real-life ghost. Sadie gives a remote shrug as though she's really not interested in this conversation. Aren't you? Again, Sadie doesn't reply. Her head is tilted and she's examining her fingernails. Maybe she doesn't want to be a ghost. Well, too bad. She is. You are a ghost. I know you are. So, what? Am I psychic? My head is prickling all over as this revelation hits me. I feel a bit shivery. I can talk to the dead. Me, Lara Langton. I always knew there was something different about me. Think of the implications. Think what this means. Maybe I'll start talking to more ghosts. Lots of ghosts. Oh my gosh, I could have my own TV show. I could go around the world. I could be famous. I have a sudden vision of myself on a stage, channeling spirits while an audience watches avidly. With a surge of excitement, I lean across the table. Do you know any other dead people you could introduce me to? No. Sadie folds her arms crossly. I don't. Have you met Marilyn Monroe, or Elvis, or Princess Diana? What's she like? Or Mozart? I feel almost dizzy as possibilities pile into my head. This is mind-blowing. You have to describe it. You have to tell me what it's like. There. Where? Sadie tosses her chin. There, you know. I haven't been anywhere. She glares at me. I haven't met anybody. I wake up and it's as though I'm in a dream. A very bad dream. Because all I want is my necklace, but the only person who can understand me refuses to help me. She looks so accusing, I feel a surge of indignation. Well, maybe if you didn't come along and ruin everything, that person might want to help you. Did you think of that? I didn't ruin everything. Yes, you did. I told you I hadn't eaten an oyster, didn't I? I didn't want to know how to eat a bloody oyster. I wanted my candidate not to walk out. For a moment, Sadie looks cornered, then her chin juts out again. I didn't know he was your candidate. I thought he was your lover. Well, my business is probably sunk now, and I can't afford any of this stupid food. It's all a disaster, and it's all your fault. Morosely, I reach for another oyster and start poking at it with my fork. Then I glance at Sadie. All her spirit seems to have evaporated, and she's hugging her knees with that droopy-headed flower look. She meets my eyes and drops her head down again. I'm sorry. Her voice is barely above a whisper. I apologize for causing you so much trouble. If I could communicate with anyone else, I would do so. Now, of course, I feel bad. Look, I mean, it's not that I don't want to help. It's my final wish. As Sadie looks up, her eyes are dark and velvety, and her mouth is in a sad little O shape. It's my only wish. I don't want anything else. I won't ask you for anything else, just my necklace. I can't rest without it. I can't. She breaks off and looks away as though she can't finish the sentence. Or doesn't want to finish it, maybe. I can tell this is a bit of a sensitive area, but I'm too intrigued to let it go. When you say you can't rest without your necklace, I venture delicately, do you mean rest as in sit down and feel relaxed, or do you mean rest as in pass on to there? I catch her stony gaze and amend hastily. I mean the other. I mean the better. I mean the after. I rub my nose, feeling hot and bothered. Gosh, this is a minefield. How am I supposed to put it? What's the politically correct phrase anyway? So, how does it work exactly? I try a different tack. I don't know how it works. I haven't been given an instruction pamphlet, you know. Her tone is scathing, but I can see an insecure flash in her eye. I don't want to be here. I've just found myself here. And all I know is I need my necklace. That's all I know. And for that, I need your help. For a while, there's silence. I swallow another oyster. Uncomfortable thoughts jab me at my conscience. She's my great aunt. This is her one and only last wish. You should make an effort with someone's one and only last wish, even if it is totally impossible and stupid. Sadie. At last I exhale sharply. If I find your necklace for you, will you go away and leave me in peace? Yes. For good? Yes. Her eyes are starting to shine. I fold my arms sternly. If I look for your necklace as hard as I can, but can't find it because it was lost a zillion years ago, or more likely never existed, will you still go away? There's a pause. Sadie looks sulky. It did exist, she says. Will you? I persist, because I'm not spending all summer on some ridiculous treasure hunt. For a few moments, Sadie glowers at me, clearly trying to think of some put-down. She can't. Very well, she says at last. Okay, it's a deal. I lift my champagne glass toward her. Here's to finding your necklace. Come on then, start looking. She darts her head around impatiently as though we might start searching right here and now in the restaurant. We can't just go randomly looking, we have to be scientific. I reach into my bag, pull out the necklace sketch, and unfold it. Alright, think back. When did you last have it? Chapter 5. Fairside Nursing Home is in a leafy residential road, a red brick, double-fronted building with net curtains in every single window. I survey it from the other side of the road, then turn to look at Sadie, who has been following me in silence ever since Potter's Bar Station. She came with me on the tube, but I barely saw her. She spent the whole time flitting around the carriage, looking at people, popping up to ground level and down again. So that's where you used to live, I say with an awkward brightness. It's really nice. Lovely garden. I gesture at a couple of mangy shrubs. Sadie doesn't answer. I look up and see a line of tension in her pale jaw. This must be strange for her, coming back here. I wonder how well she remembers it. Hey, how old are you anyway? I say curiously as the thought occurs to me. I mean, I know you're 105, but now, as you are here, I gesture at her. Sadie looks taken aback by the question. She examines her arms, peers at her dress, and thoughtfully rubs the fabric between her fingers. 23, she says at last. Yes, I think I'm 23. I'm doing mental calculations in my head. She was 105 when she died, which would mean you were 23 in the year 1927. That's right. Her face suddenly comes alive. We had a pajama party for my birthday. We drank gin fizzes all evening and danced till the birds started singing. Oh, I miss pajama parties. She hugs herself. Do you have many pajama parties? Does a one-night stand count as a pajama party? I'm not sure they're quite the same. I break off as a woman's face glances out of a top-floor window at me. Come on, let's go. I head briskly across the road, up the path to the wide front door and press the security buzzer. Hello? I call into the girl. I don't have an appointment, I'm afraid. There's the sound of a key in the lock and the front door opens. A woman in a blue nurse's uniform beams at me. She looks in her early 30s, with her hair tied back in a knot and a plump, pale face. Can I help you? Yes, my name's Laura, and I'm here about a former resident. I glance at Sadie. She's gone. I hurriedly scan the whole front garden, but she's totally disappeared. Bloody hell, she's left me in the lurch. A former resident? The nurse prompts me. Oh, Sadie Lancaster? Sadie, her face softens. Come in, I'm Jenny, senior staff nurse. I follow her into a linoleum-floored hall, smelling of beeswax and disinfectant. The whole place is quiet, apart from the nurse's rubber shoes squeaking on the floor and the distant sound of the TV. Through a door, I glimpse a couple of old ladies sitting in chairs with crocheted blankets over their knees. I've never really known any old people, not really, really old. Hello, I wave nervously at one white-haired lady who is sitting nearby, and her face immediately crumples in distress. Shit. Sorry, I call quietly. I didn't mean to, The nurse comes over to the white-haired lady, and in slight relief I hurry after Jenny, hoping she didn't notice. Are you a relation? She asked, showing me into a little reception room. I'm Sadie's great niece. Lovely, says the nurse, looking on the kettle. Cup of tea? We've been expecting someone to call, actually. Nobody ever picked up her stuff. That's what I'm here about. I hesitate, gearing myself up. I'm looking for a necklace, which I believe once belonged to Sadie, a glass bead necklace with a dragonfly set with rhinestones. I smile apologetically. I know it's a long shot, and I'm sure you don't even... I know the one. She nods. You know the one? I stare at her stupidly. You mean it exists? She had a few lovely bits. Jenny smiles, but that was her favorite. She wore it over and over. Right, I swallow, trying to keep calm. Could I possibly see it? It'll be in her box, Ginny nods again. If I can get you to fill in a form first, do you have any ID? Of course. I scrabble in my bag, my heart racing. I can't believe it. This was so easy. As I fill in the form, I keep looking around for Sadie, but she's nowhere to be seen. Where's she gone? She's missing a great moment. Here you are. I thrust the form at Ginny. So, can I take it away? I'm nearly next of kin. The lawyer said the next of kin weren't interested in having her personal effects, says Ginny. Her nephews, was it? We never saw them. Oh, I call her my dad and my uncle. We've been holding on to them in case they changed their minds. Ginny pushes through a swing door. But I don't see why you can't take them. She shrugs. It's nothing much, to be honest. Apart from the bits of jewelry, she stops in front of a pinboard and gestures fondly at a photo. Here she is. Here's our Sadie. It's the same wrinkled old lady from the other photo. She's wrapped in a pink lacy shawl, and there's a ribbon in her white candy floss hair. I feel a slight lump in my throat as I gaze at the picture. I just can't relate this tiny, ancient, folded-up face to Sadie's proud, elegant profile. Her 105th birthday, that was. Ginny points to another photo. You know, she's our oldest ever resident. She's had telegrams from the Queen. A birthday cake is in front of Sadie in this photo, and nurses are crowding into the picture with cups of tea and wide smiles and party hats. As I look at them, I feel a crawling shame. How come we weren't there? How come she wasn't surrounded by me and Mom and Dad and everyone? I wish I'd been there. I bite my lip. I didn't realize. It's difficult. Ginny smiles at me without reproach, which of course makes me feel a million times worse. Don't worry, she was happy enough, and I'm sure you gave her a wonderful send-off. I think back to Sadie's miserable, empty little funeral and feel even worse. Kind of. Hey, my attention is suddenly drawn by something in the photograph. Wait, is that it? That's the dragonfly necklace. Ginny nods easily. You can have that photo if you like. I take down the photo, lightheaded with disbelief. There it is. Just visible, poking out of the folds of Great Aunt Sadie's shawl. There are the beads. There's the rhinestone-studded dragonfly, just as she described it. It's real. I'm so sorry none of us can make the funeral, Ginny sighs as we resume walking down the corridor. We had such staff problems this week. But we toasted her at supper. Here we are, Sadie's things. We've arrived at a small storeroom lined with dusty shelves, and she hands me a shoebox. There's an old metal-backed hairbrush inside and a couple of old paperbacks. I can see the gleam of beads coiled up at the bottom. Is this all? I'm taken aback in spite of myself. We didn't keep her clothes. Ginny makes an apologetic gesture. They weren't really hers, so to speak. She didn't choose them. But what about stuff from early in her life? What about furniture or mementos? Ginny shrugs. Sorry, I've only been here for 5 years and Sadie was a resident for a long while. I suppose things get broken and lost and not replaced. Right. Trying to hide my shock, I start unpacking the meager things. Someone lives for 105 years and this is all that's left, a shoebox. As I reach the jumble of necklaces and brooches at the bottom, I feel my excitement rising. I untangle all the strings of beads, searching for yellow glass, for a flash of rhinestones, for the dragonfly. It's not there. Ignoring a sudden foreboding, I shake the tangle of beads out properly and lay them straight. There are 13 necklaces in all. None of them is the right one. Ginny, I can't find the dragonfly necklace. Oh dear. Ginny peers over my shoulder in concern. It should be there. She lifts up another necklace made from tiny purple beads and smiles at it fondly. This was another favorite of hers. Really after the dragonfly necklace? I know I sound agitated. Could it be anywhere else? Ginny looks perplexed. This is strange. Let's check with Harriet. She did the clear out. I follow her back down the corridor and through a door-marked staff. Inside is a small cozy room in which 3 nurses are sitting on old floral armchairs drinking cups of tea. Harriet, says Ginny to a pink-cheeked girl in glasses, this is Sadie's great-niece Laura. She wants that lovely dragonfly necklace that Sadie used to wear. Have you seen it? Oh gosh, why'd she have to put it like that? I sound like some horrible grasping person out of Scrooge. I don't want it for me, I say hastily. I want it for a good cause. It isn't in Sadie's box, Ginny explains. Do you know where it could be? Is it not? Harriet looks taken aback. Well, maybe it wasn't in the room. Now you mention it, I don't remember seeing it. I'm sorry, I know I should have taken an inventory, but we cleaned our room in a bit of a rush. She looks up at me defensively. We've been so stretched. Do you have any idea where it could have gone? I look at them helplessly. Could it have been put somewhere? Could it have been given to one of the other residents? The jumbo sale, pipes up a thin, dark-haired nurse sitting in the corner. It wasn't sold by mistake at the jumbo sale, was it? What jumbo sale? I swivel around to face her. It was a fundraiser 2 weekends ago. All the residents and their families donated stuff. There was a bric-a-brac stall with lots of jewelry. No, I shake my head. Sadie would never have donated this necklace. It was really special to her. Like I say, the nurse shrugs. They were going from room to room. There were boxes of stuff everywhere. Maybe it was collected by mistake. She sounds so matter-of-fact I suddenly feel livid on Sadie's behalf. But that kind of mistake shouldn't happen. People's stuff should be safe. Necklaces shouldn't just disappear. We do have a safe in the cellar, Ginny puts in anxiously. We asked residents to keep anything of real value in that. Diamond rings and so forth. If it was valuable, it should really have been locked up. It wasn't valuable exactly, I don't think. It was just important. I sit down, rubbing my forehead, trying to organize my thoughts. So, can we track it down? Do you know who was at this jumbo sale? Doubtful looks are exchanged around the room, and I sigh. Don't tell me you have no idea. We do. The dark-haired nurse suddenly puts down her cup of tea. Have we still got the raffle list? The raffle list, says Jenny, brightening. Of course. Everyone who came to the sale bought a raffle ticket, she explains to me. They all left their names and addresses in case they won. The star prize was a bottle of Bailey's, she adds proudly, and we had a Yardley gift set. Do you have the list? I cut her off. Can you give it to me? 5 minutes later, I'm clutching at a 4-page photocopied list of names and addresses. There are 67 in all. 67 possibilities. No, possibilities is too strong a word. 67 outside chances. Well, thanks, I smile, trying not to feel too daunted. I'll investigate this lot, and if you do come across it... Of course, we'll all keep an eye out, won't we? Ginny peels around the room, and there are 3 nods. I follow Ginny back through the hall, and as we approach the front door, she hesitates. We have a visitor's book, Laura. I don't know if you'd like to sign it? Oh, I hesitate awkwardly. Yes, why not? Ginny takes down a big red-bound book and leafs through it. All the residents have their own page, but Sadie never had very many signatures. So now that you're here, I thought it would be nice if you signed, even though she's gone. Ginny flushes. Is that silly of me? No, it's sweet of you. I feel a renewed guilt. We should have visited more. Here we are. Ginny's flipping through the cream pages. Oh, look. She did have one visitor this year, a few weeks ago. I was on holiday, so I missed it. Charles Reese, I read as I scrawl Laura Langton across the page, nice and big, to make up for the lack of other entries. Who's Charles Reese? Who knows, she shrugs. Charles Reese. I stare at the name intrigued. Maybe he was Sadie's dearest friend from childhood, or her lover. Oh my gosh, yes, maybe he's a sweet old man with a cane who came to hold his dear Sadie's hand just one more time. Now he doesn't even know she's dead, and he wasn't invited to the funeral. We really are a crap family. Did he leave any contact details, this Charles Reese? I look up. Was he really old? I don't know. I can ask around, though. She takes the book from me, and her face lights up as she reads my name. Langton. Any relation to the coffee, Langton? Oh, gosh, I really cannot face it today. No, I smile weakly. Just a coincidence. Well, it's been a real pleasure to meet Sadie's great niece. As we reach the front door, she gives me a friendly hug. You know, Laura, I think you have a little of her in you. You both have the same spirit, and I can sense the same kindness. The nicer this nurse is to me, the crappier I feel. I'm not kind. I mean, look at me. I never even visited my great-aunt. I don't do cycle rides for charity. Okay, I do buy the big issue sometimes, but not if I'm holding a cappuccino and it's too much hassle to reach for my purse. Jenny, a red-haired nurse beckons her. Can I have a quick word? She draws her to one side and murmurs under her breath. I just catch the odd words. Strange. Police. Police? Jenny's eyes have widened in surprise. Don't know. Number. Ginny takes a slip of paper, then turns to smile at me again. I manage a rictus grin, totally paralyzed with horror. The police? I'd forgotten about the police. I told them Sadie was murdered by the staff at the home. These lovely, saintly nurses. Why did I say that? What was I thinking? This is all Sadie's fault. No, it's not. It's my fault. I should have kept my big trap shut. Laura, Ginny peers at me in alarm. Are you alright? She's going to be accused of homicide, and she has no idea, and it's all my fault. I'm going to ruin everyone's career, and the home will be shut and boarded up, and all the old people will have nowhere to go. Laura, I'm fine, I manage at last in a grainy voice. Fine, but I have to go. I start backing out of the front door on wobbly legs. Thanks so much, bye. I wait until I'm down the path and safely back on the pavement, then whip out my phone and speed dial D.I. James's number, almost hyperventilating in panic. I should never have accused anyone of murder. I'm never, ever, ever doing that again. I'm going to confess everything, tear up my statement. D.I. James's office. A woman's crisp voice interrupts my thoughts. Hello. I try to sound calm. This is Lara Langton speaking. Could I speak to D.I. James or D.C. Davies? I'm afraid they're both out on calls. Can I take a message? If it's urgent. Yes, it's very, very urgent. It's to do with the murder case. Could you please tell D.I. James I've had a realization. A realization, she echoes, obviously writing it down. Yes, about my statement. Quite a crucial one. I think perhaps you should talk to D.I. James personally. No, this can't wait. You have to tell him it wasn't the nurses who murdered my great aunt. They didn't do a thing. They're wonderful, and it was all a terrible mistake, and, well, the thing is, I'm psyching myself up to bite the bullet and admit I invented the whole thing when suddenly I'm brought up short by a horrible thought. I can't confess everything. I can't admit I made the whole thing up. They'll instantly resume the funeral. I have a flashback to Sadie's anguish cry at the funeral service and feel a shiver of anxiety. I can't let that happen. I just can't. Yes, says the woman patiently. The thing is, my mind is doing double backflips trying to work out a solution that involves both being honest and buying time for Sadie. But I can't find one. There isn't one. And the woman's going to give up waiting in a minute and put the phone down. I have to say something. I need a red herring just to distract them for a while, just while I find the necklace. It was someone else, I blurt out. Man, it was him I overheard in the pub. I got confused before. He had a braided goatee beard, I add randomly, and a scar on his cheek. Remember it really clearly now. They'll never find a man with a braided goatee and a scar on his cheek. We're safe for now. A man with a braided beard. The woman sounds as if she's trying to keep up. And a scar. And I'm sorry, what is this man supposed to have done? Murdered my great aunt. I gave a statement, but it was wrong, so if you could just cancel it out. There's a rather long pause. Then the woman says, Dear, we don't just cancel out statements. I think D.I. James will probably want to talk to you himself. Oh gosh, the thing is I really, really don't want to talk to D.I. James. Fine, I say. I try to sound cheery. No problem. As long as he knows the nurses definitely didn't do it. If you could write that message on a post-it or something, the nurses didn't do it. The nurses didn't do it, she repeats dubiously. Exactly, in big capitals, and put it on his desk. There's another, even longer pause. Then the woman says, Can I take your name again? Lara Langton. He'll know who I am. I'm sure he will. Well, as I say, Miss Langton, I'm sure D.I. James will be in touch. I ring off and head down the road, my legs weak. I think I just about got away with it, but honestly, I'm a nervous wreck. 2 hours later, I'm not just a nervous wreck, I'm exhausted. In fact, I'm taking a whole new, jaded view of the British populace. It might seem like an easy project, phoning a few people on a list and asking them if they bought a necklace. It might seem simple and straightforward until you actually tried it yourself. I feel like I could write a whole book on human nature, and it would be called People Are Really Unhelpful. First of all, they want to know how you got their name and phone number. Then, when you mention the word raffle, they want to know what they won, and even call out to their husband, Darren, we won that raffle. When you hastily tell them you didn't win anything, the mood instantly turns suspicious. Then, when you broach the subject of what they bought at the jumbo sale, they get even more suspicious. They get convinced you're trying to sell them something or steal their credit card details by telepathy. At the third number I tried, there was some guy in the background saying, "I've heard about this. They phone you up and keep you talking. It's an internet scam. Put the phone down, Tina." "How can it be an internet scam?" I wanted to yell. "We're not on the internet." I've only had one woman so far who seemed to help. Eileen Roberts, and actually she was a total pain because she kept me on the line for 10 minutes, telling me about everything she bought at the jumbo sale and saying what a shame it was, and then had I thought of making her a replacement necklace, as there was a wonderful bead shop in Bromley. Arg. I rubbed my ear, which was glowing from being pressed against the phone, and counted the scribbled out names on my list. 23, 44 to go. This was a crap idea. I'm never gonna find this stupid necklace. I stretch out my back, then fold the list up and put it in my bag. I'll do the rest tomorrow, maybe. I head into the kitchen, pour myself a glass of wine, and I'm putting a lasagna in the oven when her voice says, "Did you find my necklace?" I start, crashing my forehead against the oven door, and look up. Sadie sitting on the sill of the open window. "Give me some warning when you're going to appear," I exclaim. "And anyway, where were you? Why did you suddenly abandon me?" "That place is deathly." She tosses her chin, "full of old people. I had to get away." She's speaking lightly, but I can tell she's freaked out by going back there. That must be why she disappeared for so long. "You are old," I remind her. "You're the oldest one there. Look, that's you." I reach my jacket pocket and produce a picture of her, all wrinkled and white-haired. I see the briefest of flinches on Sadie's face before she brushes a scornful glance across the image. "That's not me." "It is. A nurse at the home gave it to me, and she said it was you on your 105th birthday. You should be proud. You got telegrams from the Queen and everything." "I mean, it's not me. I never felt like that. No one feels like that inside. This is how I felt." She stretches out her arms like this, a girl in my 20s, all my life. The outside is just cladding. "Well, anyway, you could have warned me you were leaving. You left me all alone." "So, did you get the necklace? Do you have it?" Sadie's face lights up with hope, and I can't help wincing. "Sorry, they had a box of your stuff, but the dragonfly necklace wasn't in there. Nobody knows where it's gone. I'm really sorry, Sadie." I brace myself for the tantrum, the banshee screaming, but it doesn't come. She just flickers slightly as though someone turned the voltage down. "But I'm on the case," I add. "I'm calling everyone who came to the jumbo sale in case they bought it. I've been on the phone all afternoon. It's been quite hard work, actually, and quite exhausting." I'm expecting some gratitude from Sadie at this point, some nice little speech about how brilliant I am and how appreciative she is of all my effort. But she sighs impatiently and wanders off through the wall. "You're welcome," I mouth after her. I head into the sitting room, and I'm flicking through the TV channels when she appears again. She seems to have cheered up immensely. "You live with some very peculiar people. There's a man upstairs lying on a machine, grunting." "What?" I stare at her. "Sadie, you can't spy on my neighbors." "What does shake your booty mean?" she says, ignoring me. "The girl on the wireless was singing it. It sounds like nonsense." "It means dance, let it all out." "But why your booty?" She still looks puzzled. "Does it mean wave your shoe?" "Of course not. Your booty is your—" I get up and pat my bum. "You dance like this." I do a few street dance moves, then look up to see Sadie in fits of giggles. "You look as though you've got convulsions. That's not dancing." "It's modern dancing." I glare at her and sit down. I'm a bit sensitive about my dancing, as it happens. I take a gulp of wine and look critically at her. She's peering at the TV now, watching EastEnders with wide eyes. "What's this?" "EastEnders, it's a TV show." "Why are they all so angry with one another?" "Dunno, they always are." I take another gulp of wine. I can't believe I'm explaining EastEnders and Shake Your Booty to my dead great aunt. Surely we should be talking about something more meaningful. "Look, Sadie, what are you?" I say in impulse, zapping the TV off. "What do you mean, what am I?" She sounds affronted. "I'm a girl, just like you." "A dead girl," I point out, "so not exactly like me." "You don't have to remind me," she says frostily. I watch as she arranges herself on the edge of the sofa, obviously trying to look natural despite having zero gravity. "Do you have any special superhero powers?" I try another tack. "Can you make fire or stretch yourself really thin?" No, she seems offended. Anyway, I am thin. Do you have an enemy to vanquish, like Buffy? Who's Buffy? The Vampire Slayer? I explained she's on TV. She fights demons and vampires. Don't be ridiculous, she cuts me off tartly. Vampires don't exist. Well, nor do ghosts, I retort, and it's not ridiculous. Don't you know anything? Most ghosts come back to fight the dark forces of evil, or lead people to the light or something. They do something positive, not just sit around watching TV. JD shrugs as though to say, what do I care? I sip my wine, thinking hard. She's obviously not here to save the world from dark forces. Maybe she's going to shed light on mankind's plight or the meaning of life or something like that. Maybe I'm supposed to learn from her. So, you lived through the whole 20th century, I venture. That's pretty amazing. What was Winston Churchill like, or JFK? Do you think he really was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald? Sadie stares at me as though I'm a moron. How would I know? Because, I say defensively, because you're from history. What was it like living through World War II? To my surprise, Sadie looks quite blank. Don't you remember it? I say incredulously. Of course I don't remember it. She regains her composure. It was cold and dreary, and one's friends got killed, and I'd rather not think about it. She speaks crisply, but that little hesitation has pricked my curiosity. Do you remember your whole life? I ask cautiously. She must have memories spanning more than 100 years. How on earth can she keep hold of them all? Seems like a dream, murmurs Sadie almost to herself. Some parts are hazy. She's twirling her skirt around one finger, her expression distant. I remember everything I need to remember, she says at last. You choose what to remember, I offer. I didn't say that. Her eyes flash with some unfathomable emotion, and she wheels away from my gaze. She comes to rest in front of the mantelpiece and peers at a photo of me. It's a tourist gimmick from Madame Tussauds, and shows me grinning next to the waxwork of Brad Pitt. Is this your lover? She turns around. I wish, I say sardonically. Don't you have any lovers? She sounds so pitying, I feel a bit piqued. I had a boyfriend called Josh until a couple of months ago, but it's over, so I'm single at the moment. Sadie looks at me expectantly. Why don't you take another lover? Because I don't want to take another lover, I say. Nettled, I'm not ready. Why not? She seems perplexed. Because I loved him, and it's been really traumatic. He was my soulmate. We completely chimed. Why did he break it off then? I don't know. I just don't know. At least I have this theory. I trail off torn. It's still painful talking about Josh. But on the other hand, it's quite a relief to have someone fresh to download to. Okay, tell me what you think. I kick off my shoes, sit cross-legged on the sofa, and lean towards Sadie. We were in this relationship, and it was all going great. Is he handsome? She interrupts. Of course he's handsome. I pull out my phone, find the most flattering picture of him, and tilt it toward her. Here he is. She makes a so-so gesture with her head. Is that the best she can do? I mean, Josh is absolutely, definitively good looking. And that's not just me being biased. We met at this bonfire party. He's in IT advertising. I'm scrolling through, showing her other pictures. We just clicked. You know how you do? We used to spend all night talking. How dull. Sadie wrinkles her nose. I'd rather spend all night gambling. We were getting to know each other, I say, shooting her an offended look, like you do in a relationship. Did you go dancing? Sometimes, I say impatiently. That wasn't the point. The point was we were the perfect match. We talked about everything. We were wrapped up in each other. I honestly thought this was the one, but then I paused as my thoughts painfully retread old paths. Well, two things happened. First of all, there was this time when I did the wrong thing. We were walking past a jeweler's shop, and I said, that's the ring you can buy me. I mean, I was joking, but I think it freaked him out. Then, a couple of weeks later, one of his mates broke up from a long-term relationship. It was like shockwaves went through the group. The commitment thing hit them, and none of them could cope, so they all ran. All of a sudden, Josh was just backing off. Then he broke up with me, and he wouldn't even talk about it. I close my eyes as painful memories start resurfacing. It was such a shock. He dumped me by email. By email. The thing is, I know he still cares about me. I bite my lip. I mean, the very fact he won't talk proves it. He's scared or he's running away or there's some other reason I don't know about. But I feel so powerless. I feel the tears brimming in my eyes. How am I supposed to fix it if he won't discuss it? How can I make things better if I don't know what he's thinking? I mean, what do you think? There's silence. I look up to see Sadie sitting with her eyes closed, humming softly. Sadie? Sadie! Oh, she blinks at me. Sorry, I do tend to go into a trance when people are droning on. Droning on? I wasn't droning on, I say with indignation. I was telling you about my relationship. Sadie is surveying me with fascination. You're terribly serious, aren't you? She says. No, I'm not, I say at once, defensively. What does that mean? When I was your age, if a boy behaved badly, one simply scored his name out from one's dance card. Yes, well, I try not to sound too patronizing. This is all a bit more serious than dance cards. We do a bit more than dance. My best friend, Bunty, was treated terribly badly by a boy named Christopher one New Year. In a taxi, you know? Sadie widens her eyes, but she had a little weep, powdered her nose again, and tally-ho, she was engaged before Easter. Tally-ho? I can't keep the scorn out of my voice. That's your attitude toward men? Tally-ho? What's wrong with that? What about proper balance relationships? What about commitment? Sadie looks baffled. Why do you keep talking about commitment? Do you mean being committed to a mental asylum? No, I try to keep my patience. I mean, look, were you ever married? Sadie shrugs. I was married for a spell. We had too many arguments. So wearing. And one begins to wonder why one ever liked the chap in the first place. So I left him. I went abroad to the Orient. That was in 1933. He divorced me during the war, cited me for adultery, she adds gaily. But everyone was too distracted to think about the scandal by then. In the kitchen, the oven pings to tell me my lasagna's ready. I wander through, my head buzzing with all this new information. Sadie was divorced. She played around. She lived in the Orient, wherever that's supposed to be. Should be in Asia. I hook out my lasagna and tip some salad onto my plate, because that's what we call it these days. And by the way, we work at our relationships. Work? Sadie appears beside me, wrinkling her nose. That doesn't sound like any fun. Maybe that's why you broke up. It isn't. I feel like slapping her. She's so annoying. She doesn't understand anything. Count on us. She reads off my lasagna packet. What does that mean? It means it's low fat, I say a little reluctantly, expecting the usual lecture that Mom gives me about processed diet foods and how I'm a perfectly normal size, and girls these days are far too obsessed about weight. Oh, you're on a diet. Sadie's eyes light up. You should do the Hollywood diet. You eat nothing but 8 grapefruit a day, black coffee, and a hard-boiled egg, and plenty of cigarettes. I did it for a month, and the weight fell off me. A girl in my village swore she took tapeworm pills, she adds reminiscently, but she wouldn't tell us where she got them. I stare at her, feeling a bit revolted. Tapeworms? They gobble up all the food inside one, you know? Marvelous idea. I sit down and look at my lasagna, but I'm not hungry anymore. Partly because visions of tapeworms are now lodged in my mind, and partly because I haven't talked about Josh so openly for ages. I feel all turned up and frustrated. If I could just talk to him. I spear a piece of cucumber and stare at it miserably. If I could just get inside his head, but he won't accept my calls. He won't meet up. More talking? Sadie looks appalled. How are you going to forget him if you keep talking about him? Darling, when things go wrong in life, this is what you do. She adopts a knowledgeable tone. You lift your chin, put on a ravishing smile, mix yourself a little cocktail, and out you go. It's not as simple as that, I say resentfully. I don't want to forget about him. Some of us have hearts, you know. Some of us don't give up on true love. Some of us... I suddenly notice Sadie's eyes have closed and she's humming again. Trust me to get haunted by the flakiest ghost in the world. 1 minute shrieking in my ear, the next making outrageous comments, the next spying on my neighbors. I take a mouthful of lasagna and chew it crossly. I wonder what else she saw in my neighbor's flats. Maybe I could get her to spy on that guy upstairs when he's making a racket, see what he's actually doing. Wait, oh my gosh. I nearly choke on my food. With no warning, a new idea has flashed into my mind. A fully formed, totally brilliant plan. The plan that will solve everything. Sadie could spy on Josh. She could get into his flat, she could listen to his conversations, she could find out what he thinks about everything and tell me, and somehow I could work out what the problem is between us and solve it. This is the answer, this is it. This is why she was sent to me. Sadie! I leaped to my feet, powered by a kind of giddy adrenaline. I've worked it out. I know why you're here. It's to get me and Josh back together. No, it's not. Sadie objects at once. It's to get my necklace. Can't just be here for some crummy old necklace. I make a brushing aside gesture. Maybe the real reason is you're supposed to help me. That's why you were sent. I wasn't sent. Sadie appears mortally offended at the very idea. And my necklace isn't crummy. And I don't want to help you. You're supposed to be helping me. Who says? I bet you're my guardian angel. I'm getting carried away here. I bet you've been sent back to Earth to show me that actually my life is wonderful. Like in that movie. Sadie looks at me silently for a moment, then surveys the kitchen. I don't think your life's wonderful, she says. I think it's rather drab, and your haircut's atrocious. I glare at her furiously. You're a crap guardian angel. I'm not your guardian angel, she shoots back. How do you know? I clutch at my chest determinedly. I'm getting a very strong psychic feeling that you're here to help me get back together with Josh. The spirits are telling me. Well, I'm getting a very strong psychic feeling that I'm not supposed to get you back together with Josh. She retorts at once. The spirits are telling me. She's got a nerve. What would she know about spirits? Is she the one who can see ghosts? Well, I'm alive, so I'm boss, I snap, and I say you're supposed to help me. Otherwise, maybe I won't have time to look for your necklace. I didn't mean to put it quite as bluntly as that. Then she forced me into it by being so selfish. I mean, honestly, she should want to help her own great niece. Sadie's eyes flash angrily at me, but I can tell she knows she's caught out. Very well, she says at last, and her slim shoulders heave in a huge put-upon sigh. It's a terrible idea, but I suppose I have no choice. What do you want me to do? Chapter 6. I haven't felt as zippy as this for weeks, for months. It's 8 o'clock the next morning, and I feel like a brand new person. Instead of waking all depressed with a picture of Josh clutched in my tear-stained hand, a bottle of vodka on the floor, and Alanis Morissette playing on a loop. Okay, that was only the one time. But anyway, just look at me. Energetic, refreshed, straight eyeliner, crisp, stripy top. Ready to face the day and spy on Josh and get him back. I've even booked a cab to be efficient. I head into the kitchen to find Sadie sitting at the table in yet another dress. This one is mauve with panels of tulle and a draping effect at the shoulders. Wow, I can't help gasping. How come you have all these different outfits? Isn't it glorious? Sadie looks pleased with herself. And it's very easy, you know. I just imagine myself in a particular frock and it appears on me. So, is this one of your favorites? No, this belonged to a girl I knew called Cecily. Sadie smooths down the skirt. I always coveted it. You've pinched another girl's outfit? I can't help giggling. You've stolen it? I haven't stolen it, she says coldly. Don't be ridiculous. How do you know? I can't resist needling her. What if she's a ghost too and she wants to wear it today and she can't? What if she's sitting somewhere crying her eyes out? That's not how it works, says Sadie stonily. How do you know what works? How do you know? I break off as a sudden brilliant thought hits me. Hey, I've got it. You should just imagine your necklace. Just picture it in your head and then you'll have it. Quickly close your eyes. Think hard. Are you always this slow-witted? Sadie interrupts. I've tried that. I tried to imagine my rabbit fur cape and dancing shoes as well, but I couldn't get them. I don't know why. Maybe you could only wear ghost clothes, I say after a moment's consideration. Clothes that are dead too, like that have been shredded up or destroyed or whatever. We both look at the mauve dress for a few moments. It seems sad to think of it being shredded up. In fact, I wish I hadn't mentioned it. So, are you all set? I change the subject. If we go soon, we can catch Josh before he leaves for work. I take a yogurt out of the fridge and start spooning it into my mouth. Just the thought of being near Josh again is making me feel fizzy. I can't even finish my yogurt, I'm so excited. I put the half-eaten pot back in the fridge and dump the spoon in the sink. Come on, let's go. I pick up my hairbrush from its place in the fruit bowl and tuck it through my hair. Then I grab my keys and turn to see Sadie studying me. Goodness, your arms are plump, she says. I hadn't noticed before. They're not plump, I say offended. That's solid muscle. I clench my biceps at her and she recoils. Even worse. Complacently, she looks down at her own slender white arms. I was always renowned for my arms. Yeah, well, these days we appreciate a bit of definition. I inform her. We go to the gym. Are you ready? The taxi will be here in a minute. The buzzer goes and I lift the receiver. Hi, I'm just coming down. Lara, comes a familiar muffled voice. Darling, it's Dad. And Mom. Just popped around to check you're all right. We thought we'd catch you before work. I stare at the speakerphone in disbelief. Dad and Mom, of all the times, and what's all this with the popping around? Anyway, Mom and Dad never pop round. Great. I try to sound breezy. I'll be right down. I emerge from my building to find Mom and Dad standing on the pavement. Mom is holding a potted plant, and Dad is clutching a full Holland & Barrett bag, and they're talking in low voices. As they see me, they come forward with fake smiles as though I'm a mental patient. Lara, darling, I can see Dad's worried eyes scanning my face. You haven't replied to any of my texts or messages. We're getting worried. Oh, right. Sorry, I've been a bit busy. What happened at the police station, darling? Asked Mom, attempting to sound relaxed. It was fine. I gave them a statement. Oh, Michael. Mom closes her eyes in despair. So you really believe Great Aunt Sadie was murdered? I can tell Dad is as freaked out as Mom. Look, Dad, it's no big deal, I say reassuringly. Don't worry about me. Mom's eyes snap open. Vitamins, she says, and starts rooting in the Holland & Barrett bag. I asked the lady at the shop about behavioral, she stops herself, and lavender oil, and a plant can help with stress. You could talk to it. She tries to give me the potted plant, and I thrust it away impatiently. I don't want a plant. I'll forget to water it, and it'll die. You don't have to have the plant, says Dad in soothing tones, glancing warningly at Mom. But you've obviously been very stressed, what with the new business and Josh. They're so going to change their tune. They're so going to realize I was right all along when Josh and I get back together and get married. Not that I can say this right now, obviously. Dad, I give him a patient, reasonable smile. I told you I don't even think about Josh anymore. I'm just getting on with life. It's you who keeps bringing him up. Huh, that was quite clever. I'm just about to tell Dad that maybe he's obsessed with Josh when a taxi pulls up beside us on the pavement and a driver leans out. 32 Bickenhall Mansions? Damn. Okay, I'll just pretend I didn't hear him. Mom and Dad are exchanging looks. Isn't that where Josh lives? Says Mom tentatively. I don't remember, I say carelessly. Anyway, it's for someone else. 32 Bickenhall Mansions. The driver has leaned farther out of his cab, his voice raised higher. Lara Langton, you booked taxi? Bugger. Why are you going to Josh's flat? Mom sounds beside herself. I'm not. I thought it must be some car I booked months ago finally turning up. They're always late. You're 6 months late. Go away. I shoot at the bemused driver, who eventually puts the car into gear and drives away. There's a kind of tense silence. Dad's expression is so transparent, it's endearing. He wants to believe the best in me. On the other hand, the evidence is all pointing one way. Lara, do you swear that taxi wasn't for you? He says at last. I swear, I nod. On Great Aunt Sadie's life. I hear a gasp and look around to see Sadie's eyes beaming fury at me. Couldn't think of anything else, I say defensively. Sadie ignores me and walks right up to Dad. You're fools, she says emphatically. She's still smitten with Josh. She's about to spy on him. And she's making me do her dirty work. Shut up, you sneak, I exclaim before I can stop myself. Sorry? Dad stares at me. Nothing, I clear my throat. Nothing, I'm fine. You're a lunatic. Sadie swivels around pityingly. At least I'm not haunting people, I can't help retorting. Haunting? Dad is trying to follow me. Lara, what on earth? Sorry, I smile at him, just thinking aloud. In fact, I was actually thinking about poor Great Aunt Sadie, I sigh. shaking my head pityingly. She has such sad little twiggy arms. They're not twiggy, Sadie glares back. She probably thought they were really attractive. Talk about deluded, I laugh gaily. Who wants pipe cleaners for arms? Who wants pillows for arms? Sadie shoots back, and I gasp in outrage. They're not pillows. Lara, says Dad faintly, what's not pillows? Mom looks like she wants to cry. She's still clutching onto her potted plant and a book entitled Stress-Free Living. You can achieve it. Anyway, after you get to work, I give Mom a huge hug. It's been brilliant to see you, and I'll read your book and take some vitamins, and I'll see you soon, Dad. I hug him too, don't worry. I blow them both kisses and hurry off along the pavement. When I reach the corner, I turn to wave, and they're both still standing there like waxworks. I do feel sorry for my parents, I really do. Maybe I'll buy them a box of chocolates. 20 minutes later, I'm standing outside Josh's building, feeling bubbly with exhilaration. Everything's going according to plan. I've located his window and explained the layout of the flat. Now it's up to Sadie. Go on, I say excitedly. Walk through the wall. This is so cool. I don't need to walk through the wall. She shoots me a disparaging look. I'll simply imagine myself inside his flat. Okay, well, good luck. Try to find out as much as you can, and be careful. Sadie disappears, and I crane my neck to survey Josh's window, but I can't see anything. I feel almost sick with anticipation. This is the nearest I've been to Josh in weeks. He's in there right now, and Sadie's watching him, and any minute she'll come out, and... He's not there. Sadie appears in front of me. Not there. I stare at her, affronted. Well, where is he? He doesn't usually leave for work till 9. I have no idea. She doesn't sound remotely interested. What does the place look like? I can't help probing for details. Is it a real mess? Like with old abandoned pizza boxes and beer bottles everywhere? Like he's been letting himself go? Like he doesn't really care about life anymore? No, it's very tidy. Lots of fruit in the kitchen, Sadie adds. I noticed that. Oh, well, he's obviously taking care of himself then. I hunch my shoulders, a bit discouraged. It's not that I want Josh to be an emotional wreck on the brink of meltdown exactly, but... Well, you know, it would be quite flattering. Let's go, Sadie yawns. I've had quite enough of this. I'm not just leaving. Go in again. Look around for clues. Like, are there any photographs of me or anything? No, says Sadie at once. None, not a single one. You haven't even looked. I glare at her resentfully. Search on his desk. Maybe he's in the middle of writing a letter to me or something. Go on. Without thinking, I try to push her toward the building, but my hand sinks straight through her body. Urgh, I recoil, feeling squeamish. Don't do that, she exclaims. Did it hurt? I can't help glancing at my hands as though they really have just plunged through her innards. Not exactly, she says grudgingly, but it's not pleasant to have someone's hands poking through my stomach. She whisks off again. I try to damp down my agitation and wait patiently, but this is totally unbearable. Being stuck outside, if it were me searching, I'd find something, I know I would. Like a diary full of Josh's thoughts, or a half-written email unsent, or poetry, imagine that. I can't help sliding into a fantasy about Sadie coming across a poem scrawled on some cast-aside piece of paper. Something really simple and direct, just like Josh himself. It was all a mistake. Gosh, I miss you, Laura. I love your... I can't think of anything to rhyme with Laura. Wake up, Laura? I jump and open my eyes to see Sadie in front of me again. Did you find something, I gasp? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. Sadie looks triumphant, something rather interesting and extremely relevant. Oh my gosh, what? I can hardly breathe as tantalizing possibilities flash through my mind. A photo of me under his pillow, a diary entry resolving to get back in touch with me. He's having lunch with another girl on Saturday. What? All my fantasies melt away. I stare at her, stricken. What do you mean he's having lunch with another girl? There is a memorandum pinned up in the kitchen, 12:30 lunch with Marie. I don't know anyone called Marie. Josh doesn't know anyone called Marie. Who's Marie? I can't contain my agitation. Who's Marie? Sadie shrugs. His new girlfriend? Don't say that, I cry in horror. He hasn't got a new girlfriend. He wouldn't have. He said there wasn't anyone else. He said... I trail off, my heart thumping. It never even occurred to me that Josh might be seeing another girl already. Never even crossed my mind. In his breakup email, he said he wasn't going to rush into anything new. He said he had to take time out to think about his whole life. Well, he hasn't thought for very long, has he? If I was going to think about my whole life, I'd take ages longer than 6 weeks. I'd take a year, at least. Maybe 2 or 3. Boys treat thinking like sex. They think it takes 20 minutes and then you're done and there's no point talking about it. They have no idea. Did it say where they're having lunch? Sadie nods. Bistro Martin. Bistro Martin? I think I'm going to hyperventilate. That's where we had our first date. We always used to go there. Josh is taking a girl to Bistro Martin, a girl called Marie. Go in again. I wave my hands agitatedly at the building. Search around. Find out more. I'm not going in again, objects Sadie. You found out all you need to know. Actually, she has a point. You're right. Abruptly, I turn and start walking away from the flat, so preoccupied that I nearly bump into an old man. Yes, you're right. I know which restaurant they're going to be at, and what time. I'll just go along and see for myself. No! Sadie appears in front of me, and I stop in surprise. It's not what I meant. You can't be intending to spy on them. I have to. I look at her perplexed. How else am I going to find out if Marie's his new girlfriend or not? You don't find out. You say good riddance, buy a new dress, and take another lover or several. I don't want several lovers, I say mulishly. I want Josh. Well, you can't have him. Give up. I'm so sick of people telling me to give up on Josh. My parents, Natalie, that old woman I got talking to on the bus once. Why should I give up? My words fly out on a swell of protest. Why does everyone keep telling me to give up? What's wrong with sticking to one single goal? In every other area of life, perseverance is encouraged. It's rewarded. I mean, they didn't tell Edison to give up on light bulbs, did they? They didn't tell Scott to forget about the South Pole. They didn't say, never mind, Scotty, there are plenty more snowy wastes out there. He kept trying. He refused to give up, however hard it got, and he made it. I feel quite stirred up as I finish, but Sadie is peering at me as though I'm an imbecile. Scott didn't make it. She says he froze to death. I glare at her resentfully. Some people are just so negative. Well, anyway, I turn on my heel and start stumping along the street. I'm going to that lunch. The worst thing a girl can do is trail after a boy when a love affair is dead, Sadie says disdainfully. I stump faster, but she has no problem keeping up with me. There was a girl called Polly in my village. Frightful trailer. She was convinced this chap Desmond was still in love with her and followed him around everywhere. So we played the most ripping joke on her. We told her that Desmond was in the garden, hiding behind a bush, as he was too shy to talk to her directly. Then, when she came out, one of the boys read out a love letter, supposed to be from him. We'd written it ourselves, you know. Everyone was hiding behind the bushes, simply rocking. I can't help feeling a reluctant interest in her story. Didn't the other guy sound different? He said his voice was high from nerves. He said her presence reduced him to a trembling leaf. Polly replied that she understood because her own legs were like aspic. Sadie starts giggling. We all called her aspic for ages after that. That's so mean, I say in horror. She didn't realize it was a trick. Only when the bushes all started shaking around the garden. Then my friend Bunty rolled out onto the grass. She was laughing so hard and the game was up. Poor Polly. Sadie gives a sudden giggle. She was foaming. She didn't speak to any of us all summer. I'm not surprised, I exclaim. I think you were all really cruel. Anyway, what if their love affair wasn't dead? What if you ruined her chance of true love? True love, echoes Sadie with a derisive laughter so old-fashioned. Old-fashioned? I echo incredulously. You're just like my grandmother with your love songs and your sighing. You even have a little miniature of your beloved in your handbag, don't you? Don't deny it. I've seen you looking at it. It takes me a moment to work out what she's talking about. It isn't a miniature, actually. It's called a mobile phone. Whatever it's called, you still look at it and make goo-goo eyes, and then you take your smelling salts out of that little bottle. That's a rescue remedy, I say furiously. Gosh, she's starting to wind me up. So, you don't believe in love, is that what you're saying? You were never in love? Not even when you were married? A passing postman shoots me a curious look, and I hastily put a hand to my ears, adjusting an earpiece. I must start wearing one as camouflage. Sadie hasn't answered me, and as we reach the tube station, I stop dead to survey her, suddenly genuinely curious. You're really never in love? There's the briefest pause, then Sadie flings her arms out with a rattle of bracelets, her head thrown back. I had fun. That's what I believe in. Fun, flings, the sizzle. What sizzle? That's what we called it, Bunty and I. Her mouth curves in a reminiscent smile. It starts as a shiver when you see a man for the first time, and then he meets your eye, and the shiver runs down your back and becomes a sizzle in your stomach, and you think, I want to dance with that man. And then what happens? You dance, you have a cocktail or two, you flirt, her eyes are shining. I want to ask, do you shag him, but I'm not sure it's the kind of question you ask your 105-year-old great aunt. Then I remember the visitor from the nursing home. Hey, I raise my eyebrows. You can say what you like, but I know there was someone special in your life. What do you mean? She stares at me, suddenly tense. What are you talking about? A certain gentleman by the name of Charles Reese. I'm hoping to provoke a blush or gasp or something, but she looks blank. I've never heard of him. Charles Reese, he came to visit you in the nursing home a few weeks ago. Sadie shakes her head. I don't remember. The light in her eyes fades as she adds, I don't remember much about that place at all. Suppose you wouldn't. I pause awkwardly. You had a stroke years ago. I know, she glares at me. Gosh, doesn't have to be so touchy. It's not my fault. Suddenly, I realize my phone is vibrating. I pull it out of my pocket and see that it's Kate. Hi, Kate. Laura? Hi. I was wondering, are you coming into work today or not? She adds quickly, as though she might have offended me by asking. I mean, either way is great. Everything's fine. Shit, I've been so absorbed in Josh, I'd almost forgotten about work. I'm on my way in, I say hastily. I was just doing a bit of research at home. Is anything up? It's Shireen. She wants to know what you've done about her dog. She sounded quite upset. In fact, she was talking about pulling out of the job. Oh gosh, I haven't even thought about Shireen and her dog. Could you phone her back and say I'm on the case and I'll call her really soon? Thanks, Kate. I put my phone away and massage my temples briefly. This is bad. Here I am out on the street, spying on my ex, completely abandoning my work crisis. I need to reorder my priorities. I need to realize what's important in life. I'll leave Josh until the weekend. We have to go. I reach for my Oyster card and start hurrying toward the tube. I've got a problem. Another man problem? Asked Sadie, wafting effortlessly along beside me. No, a dog problem. A dog? It's my client. I march down the tube steps. She wants to take her dog to work, and they're saying no, it's not allowed, but she's convinced there's another dog in the building. Why? Because she heard barking more than once, but, I mean, what am I supposed to do about it? I'm almost talking to myself now. I'm totally stuck. The Human Resources Department is denying there's any other dog, and there's no way to prove they're lying. Can't exactly get into the building and search every office. I stop in surprise as Sadie appears right in front of me. Maybe not her, I sparkle, but I can.